Good evening. We're back with more Marvel Champions, and this evening will be a card review of the Cyclops Scott Summers Hero Pack. We've done nearly 40 of these so far, card reviews, and played the heroes, and every hero that I consider strong for solo play, every hero that I consider S tier so far, has been S tier for one of two reasons. Either they do a exceptional job of generating resources, or they do an exceptional job on defense. So if we go down the list of heroes that I consider S tier, it would be Spider-Ham, Ironheart, Shadowcat, Ghost Spider. Venom is close, if not right there. Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, with the Web Warrior cards and Warrior of the Great Web is close, if not right there. Captain America, Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is a resource generation champion. Protection Iron Man is a resource generation champion. Doctor Strange does it with Eye of Agamotto and Winds of Watum. And he also has some defensive abilities as well with his toughness cards. His stun is confused. Anyway, Protection Iron Man and Spider-Ham are good for their resource generation. That's what it takes to be good in solo. At least so far. We haven't seen a purely offensive or glass cannon type hero get to the S tier in solo play. I would like to in the future, but that hasn't happened yet. We haven't seen a hero that's really strong at just thwarting get to the S tier hero either. You need good defense or you need good resource generation. That's what we're looking for. And so we'll see what Cyclops has got. He has 3 recovery, 6 hand size, 10 hit points. You may include X-Men allies from any aspect in your deck. Okay, that's very thematic. Action, search your deck for a tactic upgrade and add it to your hand. Well, that doesn't mean anything until we see the tactic upgrades. Cyclops has 2/1/2 stats, and his action is Optic Blast. Spend 1 resource of any type, deal 3 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attached. Limit once per round. Well, we have to see what the upgrades do. But right away, we see that we're not looking at a defense-focused hero, and that he doesn't have any kind of resource generation built into him. Spider-Ham and Iron Man, the 2 best resource generators in the game for solo, both have the resource generation built into their hero. Doctor Strange doesn't, but he has it in his invocation deck. Oh, we'll take a look at Cyclops. We need to know what the upgrades do. We need to know what the tactic upgrades do to fully evaluate him. His hero-specific ally is Phoenix, 3 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack. After Phoenix enters play, choose a Cyclops card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. Okay. Not bad, so she's pretty strong. I wouldn't say she's exceptional, but she's above average for a hero-specific ally. Bringing a Cyclops card into your hand basically could be viewed as an extra resource. So if we viewed Phoenix as a 2 resource character instead of a 3 resource character, which is reasonable since she generates an additional resource, that would be 4 thwart or 4 attack and then a chump block for 2 cost. That's good. It's not exceptional, but it's good. It's above average for a hero-specific ally. Ruby Quartz Visor, 2 cost upgrade. Exhaust this card. Generate a lightning resource for your Optic Blast ability. That attack gains piercing and range. So we have Cyclops resource generator. It's very limited. It's very limited because we can't use it to generate resources for allies or for other cards. It can only be used to generate a resource for his Optic Blast ability. And the Optic Blast can only be used on an enemy with an upgrade attached. So as far as resource generators go, if we compared this to something like Super Soldier Serum from Captain America, it's very, very limited. Very limited in what it can do. And not that good as far as comparing his resource generation to other heroes. Field Commander, 1 cost upgrade. You take the first turn during the player phase. When your turn is done, play proceeds in player order, starting with the first player. You do not take another turn. Okay, that's very thematic. Doesn't do anything in solo, but in multiplayer, it's cool. Like, yeah, it's cool. It's a cool card, a cool ability. What's the rest of it? Each Cyclops upgrade attached to a minion loses the temporary keyword. Okay. My first impression of this hero is that we're looking at a thematic, fun, multiplayer-focused hero and not one that's going to be good in solo, because we haven't seen any sign from the hero or his first couple of cards of any kind of resource generation, strength, or defensive ability, and that's what makes a strong hero for solo play. So we're probably looking at a more multiplayer or fun-focused hero, but let's continue. Exploit Weakness, 1 cost upgrade attached to an enemy, max 1 per enemy. Temporary, which means it's discarded at the end of the round. Increase the amount of damage attached enemy takes from each attack by 1. Well, to get good value out of this, you'd need 4 damage from it. So if you're increasing the amount of damage each enemy takes by 1, then you need 4 attacks in order to take advantage of this. That isn't going to happen in solo. In a 4-player game, not so difficult. Now, if you exploit weakness along with Field Commander, and then you exploit weakness on the boss, then you'll get 4 attacks in over the course of the game. So this is good when Field Commander is already on the table, but since Field Commander is only 1 card in a 40-card deck, you may need to go through the deck, Cyclops deck, an entire, one time all the way through the deck in order to get Field Commander Exploit Weakness set up on the boss, with Exploit Weakness just staying on the boss for the rest of the game. And if you have to go through the deck once all the way through in order to set up a combo, that combo is not good in solo for higher difficulties, because with higher difficulties, you have like 2 turns to set up before you're going to die if you don't have a strong setup. So in solo play, this is not a good card. In multiplayer, you could have it be temporary and still get in 4 attacks and have it be good if you coordinated with your team. It's not going to be good every round, because even in a 4-player game, you're not going to have 4 attacks on the villain in one phase every round. If you could do more than 4, then it's really good, but that'll take quite a lot of setup. It'd still be pretty bad early. I don't think this card is that good. It's too difficult to take advantage of. I think a lot of the time it'll get thrown away to pay for other things. We get 2 of them. Practiced Defense. 0 cost upgrade attached to an enemy, max 1 per enemy. Attached enemy gets -1 attack. Well, that enemy would have to attack at least twice for this to be good. If you attach this and he just attacked once for -1 with -1 damage, I don't think that's very good for 0 cost. And maybe this is undercosted because it's enabling Optic Blast, but Optic Blast isn't that good. Yeah, it does 3 damage for 1 resource, but if you have to play inefficient upgrades in order to make Optic Blast playable, then that negates the value of the 3 damage and drops it down somewhere closer to 2 probably. So if all of these upgrades were efficient in their own right, and we could target enemies that have upgrades attached and deal 3 damage, we might be looking at something in terms of a damaged focused hero for multiplayer. But these upgrades are not good if they're only sticking around for one round, and so they really need Field Commander to be good. With Field Commander, Exploit Weakness is going to be good eventually, along with Practice Defense. But Field Commander is only one card in 40, and if the deck really has to rely on that in order to make the other cards good, it's going to be slow to set up, and slow to set up isn't very good. Priority Target, 0 cost upgrade. Attached to an enemy, max 1 per enemy. Temporary, when attached enemy is defeated, the player who defeated it draws 2 cards. Now that is a good upgrade, and it doesn't matter that it's temporary because you can put it on a minion, kill that minion, draw 2 cards. Not every deck has a lot of minions. Not every encounter deck has a lot of minions. Generally speaking, though, this card is pretty good. This is the best of the upgrades that we've seen so far. That's a lot of value for one card, and it doesn't really matter that it's temporary. So I like this card. It's good. This is the best resource generation that Cyclops has. How many of those we get? 2? Okay. Full Blast, 1 cost event. When you use your Optic Blast ability, exhaust Cyclops. This attack gains 8 additional damage and gains Overkill. Okay, so he loses his ability to thwart. This is not too dissimilar from dealing 6 damage because he does lose a basic action. So you wouldn't be able to defend in the same turn, or you wouldn't be able to thwart, most likely. His attack is kind of weak, so you probably wouldn't be attacking with him. 6 damage for 1 cost is good. That's strong. Strong damage, I like it. Strong damage isn't really what we're looking for in solo. But yeah, so we're definitely, seeing 10 out of the 15 cards, we're definitely looking at a multiplayer focused hero. There is not much doubt about that in my mind, that this hero is not going to be capable of taking on very difficult challenges in solo play. I highly doubt he's going to be capable of taking on Magneto, for example, and may struggle with Sabretooth. I'd be a little bit surprised if he can beat Sabretooth on expert difficulty, which will be my first test with him. Ricochet Beam, 2 cost event, deal 3 damage to an enemy, deal 3 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attached. So 6 damage for 2, that's good. If you have an upgrade attached, and you may have to play an inefficient upgrade in order to make that happen, which would be bad. If you can use the card draw one, it's good. It's a superpower, so deft focus may apply. We may not know the full potential of Cyclops until we've seen all of the X-Men allies that are available. So if that synergy ends up being really strong, like as strong or stronger than Web Warriors, then Cyclops' ability to include allies from every deck will, or from every aspect, will greatly elevate his potential. We may have to wait until the end of the cycle to know what we're looking at with Cyclops. Tactical Brilliance, 2 cost event. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, choose a tactic card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. Okay, what are the tactic cards we've seen so far? Will those be his attachments? Yeah, Priority Target, Practice Defense, and Exploit Weakness. So he can search your deck for a tactic upgrade and add it to your hand. So you can do that to start the game. And I think you'll pretty much always choose Priority Target unless there's some specific challenge. I mean, if you drew Field Commander in your opening hand, would you then grab like Exploit Weakness? Yeah, I could see that. I think a lot of the time with Cyclops, you're going to want to mulligan hard for Field Commander. So you can remove 3 threat from a scheme. You essentially do it for 1 cost because you generate a resource into your hand. This still isn't that good though. It's still pretty inefficient. For example, the hero we just played, well, not exactly for example, but the hero we just played, that wasn't very good wording. The hero we just played, Shadowcat, had Airwalk, which did 4th Ward for one cost. It removed 4 threat for 1 cost. So removing 3 threat for 2 cost is pretty bad by comparison. And the bonus of getting a tactic card back. I mean, if you can get the card draw one and then get 2 cards out of it, well, that's decent value. Any of the others aren't going to be that good, though, I don't think. And if you're kind of early in the game and you haven't had a chance to get that card into your discard pile, this will be pretty inefficient and probably get thrown away. Or if you just coming off of a shuffle and you don't have one in your discard pile. Not a practiced defense, it's a priority target. So I think Tactical Brilliance really needs to draw a priority target, and it really needs to be in a situation where you can use it, which isn't going to be every situation because you don't always have a minion available to attach it to. And you get 3 of those. And that's it for the hero. Well, we're definitely not looking at a hero that's strong for solo. I would be flat out shocked. I see this as a fun or thematic hero, with the Field Commander being the most important card in the deck. If you get Field Commander early, you'll be able to be a decent utility attack hero in a multiplayer game. And probably be pretty fun doing it. The only thing that could really save Cyclops is if the X-Men allies end up being really strong. Like as strong or stronger than the Web Warriors. Then Cyclops could be good, but otherwise we're looking at a pretty weak hero for solo play. And without Field Commander, pretty weak in general, I would say. Let's take a look at the cards that come with him. Beast, 4 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Genius, X-Men. After Beast enters play, search your deck and discard pile for a resource card and add it to your hand. Interesting. Well, at first glance he looks pretty good because you figure, well, I'm getting 2 resources. So basically he's costing 2 and a 2 cost ally for 2 thwart, 2 attack and 3 health. He's not exceptional, but it's really strong, well above average. However, I think that's a little bit of a trap because typically there's going to be 5 cards in your hand. And Beast is the 5th card. So if you use the other 4 cards in your hand to pay for Beast, and Beast is the 5th card, then it doesn't matter that you've drawn a resource card because you don't have anything left in your hand to spend it on. So you really need to be able to pay for Beast at a discount or using a resource card already, in which case you could actually have a card left in your hand that you could then spend the resources on. That's the situation where Beast is good, and in that situation he's not exceptional, but he is very good. If outside of that situation, he's actually pretty bad. Because if you just draw a resource card and then you have to discard it, or it just sits in your hand taking up a card slot, he's really not very good. But in this situation where you can pay for him in such a way that you have a card left over that you can then immediately pay for with the resource card that Beast draws, then he's quite good. He's not exceptional, but very strong. Phoenix does something similar, but I like her better because she only costs 3. So it's easy to have things left over for another play afterwards. Dust. 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack. When Dust attacks a minion, she attacks each minion in play. Dust takes +1 consequential damage after this attack, so that interrupt is optional. She really doesn't offer much in terms of the stats that you get outside of her ability. I think you would need to get about 5 extra damage to make this good. Or she'd need to be buffed somehow. She'd need her attack buffed. Yeah, I don't think this ally is very good. She's pretty weak. Very hard to get into a situation where she's good. It would really have to be a multiplayer. I don't think it's ever really going to happen in solo. In multiplayer, there could be some scenarios where she's good. Like if you were facing Ultron or something, and she had, in a 4-player game, and she attacked every drone in play. Okay, that's pretty good. But outside of that, in solo, this is not a good card. But aggression isn't a good card in general, so I guess if you're playing aggression, you probably are playing multiplayer. But I mentioned that the X-Men allies really needed to save Cyclops. Beast and Dust aren't really what we're looking for. We're looking for something like Spider-Man Peter Parker, what he does for the Web Warriors. Rock Slide, 4-cost ally, 1 thwart, 3 attack, 6 health, retaliate 1. He's okay. He's okay. He's a little bit underwhelming, I would say. Even if you retaliated with him 5 times against 1 attack each time, that would actually be pretty bad. I think the best use for him is attacking twice and then retaliating once and then jump blocking. And that's barely acceptable, but certainly not good. So I probably wouldn't run Rock Slide. Unless there's other X-Men synergy guards that are crazy. Blindfold, 3-cost, 3 cost, 2 thwart, 0 attack. After Blindfold enters play, look at the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. Discard 1, put the rest back in the same order. So you get a thwart, you get a chump block. If you can discard a really good card from the encounter deck, yeah, she's pretty good. I don't think she's a must include though. I've in the past in the card reviews, when I saw cards that were capable of doing this, like the 1 shield card, I thought, yeah, that's good. And then when I actually tried it, it was okay, but hard to judge. Hard to judge the strength of that. So I don't know if I would run this over just more power. I suppose for the X-Men synergy, but we haven't seen anything really that makes that synergy worth it yet. She's okay. That's the best I can say. Nothing exceptional. She's okay. I certainly don't think she's a must include in any particular deck. It's a utility card, and we're usually looking for power in solo play. Danger Room Training. 1 cost upgrade attached to any X-Men ally. Max 1 training upgrade per ally. Attached ally gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 hit point. So you could get an additional 3 thwart or 3 attack typically for 1 cost. That's not that great. I've liked the training upgrades that I saw in the expansion box, but this one's not that great. A little bit inefficient unless you could... Now, if you... Well, actually, let me reassess. If you it depends on how you use this. If you put this on an ally that's already got 2 out of the 3 hit points gone, like it's got 1 left, and then you stick this on there, meh. Now if you put this on an ally that's fully healthy, then you could get, for example, an extra 3, 4. Yeah, this is good. This is good. You just have to use it right. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, you'll put it on an ally and you'll get 1 extra attack because you get 1 hit point and that attack will be worth 2 or 3, and that's not that good. But that's not going to be the case. What you're going to do is put this on a healthy ally, and then yes, you'll get an extra attack or an extra thwart for 3, and then you'll also get +1 on its other attacks as well. And there's probably going to be 2 of those. So that puts it from +3 to +5, and that is good for 1 cost. That is good. This is a good card. This is worth including in a leadership X-Men deck. I would definitely include it. I've said that I think about all of the X-Men upgrades, and it's nice to see some good upgrades because there haven't been any to this point in the game that I really liked. Coordinated attack, 0 cost upgrade attached to a minion. So it's another tactic upgrade for Cyclops. Is the Danger Room one? No, that's training. But that wouldn't matter because Cyclops wants the upgrades to be on enemies. Attached to a minion, each ally takes -1 consequential damage when attacking attached minion. Okay, now we're talking. I like this tactic upgrade better than I liked Cyclops's. Why is this not a hero specific card for Cyclops? It's better than 2 out of the 3 that he's got. This is good. This is just unequivocally good. I would definitely include this in a leadership Cyclops deck, 100%. Get good value for this. Teamwork, 0 cost event. We've seen this before. Effective leadership. Resource max 2 per deck. When you spend this card to play an ally, that ally gets +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of the phase. I really like the protection card that generates a card draw. The aggression one wasn't that great. This one's not that great either. It's roughly equivalent to the aggression one. I think I'd probably forego it in favor of something more impactful. Unless there was some specific combo that had allies attacking more than once, but none of those combos have been that good so far, so I don't think that I would run this one. And we're into the basic cards. Angel, Warren Worthington III. 3 cost ally, 1 thwart to attack. Reduce the cost to play Angel by 1 if your identity has the mutant or X-Men trait. Yeah, for 2 cost he's great. He's not exceptional, but he's above average. And I would definitely include him in every X-Men deck. Outside of an X-Men deck, I would never include him. I don't think he's very good. Outside of the X-Men deck at 3 cost. But at 2 cost, yeah. He's absolutely getting included. Utopia, 2 cost support. If each of your allies has the X-Men trait, increase your ally limit by 1. After an X-Men ally enters play, exhaust Utopia and ready an X-Men character. You'd have to do that like 6 times to make this good. So I think this is a multiplayer focused card. All of these X-Men supports that we've seen so far have been very multiplayer focused. In fact, for the last, Mutant, well no, Sinister Motives was very multiplayer focused too. They seem to have gone in a multiplayer focused direction generally, kind of at the expense of solo in a lot of cases, though they threw us a huge bone with Spider-Ham. who's exceptional in solo play. But Utopia, yeah, you can get to the necessary number of ally plays in multiplayer. If multiple teammates are playing X-Men, you can do that pretty easily. Because this is after an X-Men ally enters play, not after one of your X-Men allies enters play. So in multiplayer, this seems pretty good. In solo, I think it's hard to get good value out of this. And that's been the case with all of the X-Men supports that we've seen so far. I think this is the third one. Danger Room. After alter ego response. After an X-Men ally enters play, exhaust Danger Room, search your deck and discard pile for a training upgrade and attach it to that ally. Any player whose alter ego has the mutant trait may trigger this ability. So yet another more multiplayer focused support card for the X-Men. Costs 2. It's an alter ego response. I don't think we would really ever want to use this in solo play. In multiplayer in an X-Men focused deck, yeah, I could see it. Looks like there'd be some decent synergies for multiplayer X-Men, but not for solo. So far, with the exception of Shadowcat. Well, we've only seen 3 X-Men, but they don't look that good for solo except for Shadowcat, who's pretty good, thanks to her strong defense. Game time, 0 cost event. Choose an ally with a training upgrade attached. Ready that ally and heal 1 damage from it. That's fine. It's good value. But it requires a 3-card combo. Requires an ally in play with a training upgrade. And you have to have this card as well. So not easy to set up. 3-card combos tend to be clunky and slow, which Cyclops already is that. So if I was playing, let's say, 1 training upgrade in my deck, would I run game time? I think you'd need multiple training upgrades in your deck. But again, it just says choose an ally with a training upgrade attached, ready that ally and heal 1 damage from it. So you could do that for a friend, right? I'm not sure about the multiplayer rules, if they would then be able to use that ally again or not. I think this is good in the situation where you can use it, but with a 3-card combo required to make it work, I think that situation probably won't come up as often as one might hope. But in the situation where it does work as intended, it's good. Nothing exceptional, but it is good. Psychic Rapport, so team up for Cyclops and Phoenix. Have we seen a team up outside of the expansion box heroes before? Oh yeah, we have. We saw one for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Yeah. Ready Cyclops and Phoenix. Choose to either return a Cyclops card from your discard pile to your hand or place 2 power counters on Phoenix Force. We don't know what those power counters mean yet, but in any case, most of the team-up cards have been pretty good if you're running these 2 as heroes, and pretty bad or clunky, hard to use if you're running them in solo. And this one is likely to not be any different. Returning a Cyclops card from your discard pile to your hand is essentially 1 resource cost reduction. So is it worth it to spend 1 resource to place 2 power counters on Phoenix Force? You'd need to get like 4 in value from that. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at Phoenix Force. This card will be in Phoenix Force's hero pack, or Phoenix's hero pack as well, and we'll take a look at it then. Energy, Genius, Strength. Got anything else? We do. We've got Marked, an aggression tactic attached to a minion Attacks against attached minion gain overkill. I don't think it's worth it to run a card just for overkill. Now, if you were running Aggression Cyclops, you might run this card just so you can trigger like Optic Blast or other things that gives Cyclops a benefit when you have a tactic upgrade attached to a minion. But other than that, I don't think the card's worth it for the value that it provides alone. And if you're running it just to enable other things, that isn't going to be very good, but might still want to do it just because aggression isn't that good in general. At least not for solo. Maybe it's fine in multiplayer, I'm not really sure. There is a situation where aggression is good, though. There's a few bosses that are vulnerable to being rushed down. Ronan in particular, one of the only ways to beat him, outside of using Spider-Ham or possibly something like Shadowcat, outside of that, the only way to actually beat him is to rush him down. Aggression can be very good for that. It does have its uses, even in solo, where we're looking for primarily defense and resource generation. Befuddle, 0 cost upgrade attached to a minion, max 1 per minion. When a character makes a basic attack against attached minion, that character uses their thwart instead of their attack. Kind of the same situation. I don't think it's worth it for that. So they're kind of giving you tactic upgrades outside of leadership, but pretty clearly, I think Cyclops is meant to be played leadership, which makes sense because his character is the leader of the X-Men. So that's thematic. So they're giving you the option of not doing that, but kind of at a penalty, which is that you don't get as good a tactic upgrade as the leadership one, which was exceptional. This one kind of, if it wasn't a tactic upgrade, you would really never play this card. And even being a tactic upgrade, I don't think I probably would if I was playing Justice Cyclops, because I don't really attach any value to that interrupt. And Pin Down, 0 cost upgrade. It's a leadership tactic. Attached to a minion, attached minion gets -2 attack. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. If I was playing defense protection Cyclops, I would run this. That value is acceptable. Nothing exceptional, but it is acceptable. And I would run this in a protection Cyclops deck. I don't know why I would run protection Cyclops, but I suppose if you're in like an X-Men team and other players wanted to play the other aspects, then that's why you would run protection Cyclops. And in that deck, I do think you would run Pin Down. Honorary X-Men, 0 cost upgrade. Play only if your identity has the X-Men trait attached to a friendly character. Attached character gets +1 hit point and gains the X-Men trait. This is decent just for the +1 hit point alone. That's adequate value to justify playing it. I don't know if there's anything you'd necessarily need that honorary X-Men title for. Nothing really comes to mind, but 0 cost for +1 hit point is not bad. Get an extra 2 attack for it for 0 cost. Or an extra 2 thwart. Not bad. Even better if you're using it on a buffed ally from a training upgrade. It's decent. I don't know if it gets run just based on being decent alone. Guess it depends on which aspect you're running, which card combos, how strong your cards are generally, maybe how complete your collection is. This is nothing special, but it's fine. And it's allows you to do some fun thematic things. And that looks like it's going to do it. So, yeah, my assessment of Cyclops is that this is a multiplayer and fun-focused hero, very thematic, but probably not going to be very good in solo, though we will certainly give him a try and see how it goes. So, thank you for watching.